Hey guys, oh no, this might be sideways, but welcome to week 3 of our New Year's resolution reboot. And let's see, the best I can do is diagonal. Well, let's try this and see how it works. So we're on week 3, and today we're talking about mindset and habit hacks, which will make your healthy changes really stick, because I'm guessing about now your pure and hearty self-discipline might be waning, right? Because we only have so much self-discipline at a time, and often after the first couple weeks, when the excitement starts to wear off, we start to need more tools and more support to keep these habits really going and becoming more and more permanent, or at least long-term. It depends. We don't always want them to be permanent, right? So let's talk habits and mindset hacks. And some of these are just magical. That's why I'm sharing them with you. I learned them from a brilliant woman. Her name is Daria Pino. She got married, so she probably has a new last name, but she spent years and years learning about all this stuff and taught it to me, and I'm just here to share that with you as well. I do want to start out with my disclaimer. Of course, if you've been around, you've already heard it, but if not and you're new, I want you to know that this information is not medical advice. It's not legal advice. I am not a doctor. I'm not claiming to cure disease or anything like that. And I always hope that you will work with a trusted healthcare professional. At least get a second opinion before you make any big changes to your health, and make sure that you're safe while you're doing it, okay? So that said, this information is for your educational and entertainment purposes, so I do hope that these ideas will help you to up-level your life. That's my goal in life, is to help other people live a gorgeous life, and I especially help people with chronic illness overcome those challenges so they can live on purpose. So if that sounds good, you're in the right place, and I'm going to jump right in, because I think we all know that there is a lot of information out there, right? So if you want to make a healthy change, it is not hard to get 1,000,001 opinions on how to do it, and the right ways, the wrong ways. Lots of science, lots of studies, lots of conflicting information, a lot of misleading information, and we get kind of smothered in it, right? But the good news is you can find a simpler way, and we've talked about that in previous weeks on this, so you can definitely go back and watch the previous videos. In a nutshell, I would say move your body how it feels good, eat whole foods from nature and not from a factory, and be happy. Like, practice happiness in your life. Those are my 3 things that I would highly recommend that have worked for me. And like I said, get your second opinion, but hopefully that will kind of inspire you. So we can have all the information and we can get the perfect information for us, but if our mindset and habits are sabotaging us, then everything is kind of lost, right? So when I talk about mindset, what I mean is what you actually believe about yourself and about the world. And some of this starts when we're children. There's this concept of socialization, which was actually one of my degrees in college. So I won't go into all the details about that, but human beings are social creatures, right? We tend to want to live in groups. We have families and communities, and we're kind of, what would we call it? Pack animals, herd animals? I don't know, but we like to live in groups. And along with that, we get socialized in what's appropriate with our group, right? We want to fit in and follow the rules. You know, there's always rules. Some are spoken, some are written, some are unspoken. And that starts to change how we feel about who we are and what the world is. So in this day and age, I think you can probably take a step back, and in fact, I would invite you to do this. Take a little time sometime and write down, in fact, maybe this week, write down all the things that you believe about yourself and about the world. And writing them down will really give you some perspective to where you can start to go, is this true, right? Because sometimes we believe things about ourselves that are no longer true, because as we go through life, we change, we learn new things, our beliefs even change. And also you might see what's influenced you in the past. So for example, children are often influenced by television commercials especially. You can probably think back to a time when you've been watching TV and, you know, thinking about something being advertised as healthy or fun, right? I'm thinking of Austin Powers, the movie, if you've ever seen that. I remember where Frau Farbissna is saying something about Lucky Charms, right? Like the Irish guy has the Lucky Charms and she's going, haha, it's a children's cereal, and they put these little bits of marshmallow right in it so the kids think, ooh, we're having fun. And okay, so that's maybe not exactly a quote from it, but you get the point. So you think that, so this stuff influences you, right? So as a child, you're going, ooh, I want that cereal because there's little bits of marshmallow and I'm gonna have fun and this is gonna be so great. And so we start to believe that on a very basic level, though, that we have to have sweet candy marshmallows in our breakfast cereal in order to start the day right. And those beliefs start to become subconscious, and then as adults, we might still be in that kind of mindset where we believe that breakfast should be a certain way. And if you're trying to make a change and eat healthier during breakfast, right, maybe you're trying to switch more towards like eggs and vegetables or any kind of, you know, protein and fats and things like that. And if you always have this kind of subconscious mindset of breakfast has to have carbs and marshmallows in it or it's not fun, that can sabotage you easily. Other things, you know, you just learn from your parents or your family members and friends about how things should be. I had a client who, she knew that like the one thing she wanted to do is go for a walk every day. She knew this would totally change her health. It would really help her with her IBS symptoms. And at the same time, she really had it stuck in her head, like if I go for a walk, it has to be 45 minutes 3 times a week. And this was really just ingrained, and until she wrote it down and could kind of take that step back and go, hey, wait, this isn't true. Like, I could go for a 5-minute walk once a week, and that's better than 0 walks ever, right? So sometimes we need to just take these little things and we change our mindset that way. So then, of course, she started going for her 5-minute walk, and pretty soon it's every day, and then longer and longer walks, because these things tend to kind of grow. The better we feel, the more we want to do of the things that are making us feel better. So I just wanted to put that out there for you as far as a couple examples of mindset. There's so many more. There's so many more ways we're influenced, and that's why I really do invite you to sit down, find 20 minutes this week and a notebook and a pen, and just start to write down the things you believe about yourself and the world. Things that you believe about what you're trying to change. For, you know, like this example, like I believe that I have to go for a 45-minute walk 3 times a week or it's not worth it. So that you can take a step back and go, hey, wait, I can go for a 5-minute walk today, and that's better than 0-minute walks ever. Or if you believe that breakfast has to have carbs, and you can take a step back and go, maybe not. Maybe I can have, you know, eggs and sauteed vegetables for breakfast every day, and that will serve me better, because that might be where you are in your life, that you need to eat in a way that will serve you better. Let's just put it that way. So there's lots and lots of examples. I won't go into too many more. I'm just going to check my notes here a little bit to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And if you have any questions, please drop them into the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, I will come back and answer your questions and comments. I love to get your feedback. Let me know if this is helping you. Give me a little happy face, a thumbs up, an emoji or something. Let me know how this is serving you. So let's dive into habits. This is what I was telling you I learned about from this wonderful woman. And if you look her up, maybe I'll even put a little link. I'm sure she's got a website or a Facebook page I can find for you. I'll put that in the comments later. She breaks it down to creating a habit requires 3 things. You need a trigger, the action, which is the habit you're trying to create, and a reward. to really hack it, to make it be really rock solid and stick. So I'm sure you already have habits. You may not even think of them. For example, a bedtime routine. You may have a bedtime routine that means you have, a glass of water and you brush your teeth and you put on your pajamas and you crawl into bed and maybe you read a book for a few minutes, or if you're like a lot of people, maybe you're doing that last email or Instagram check on your phone. Maybe you're here on Facebook with me right now as you're getting ready to go to bed. And you may not even be thinking about that, but those are several habits that are combined into your bedtime routine. The toothbrushing, the getting a glass of water, the changing into your pajamas, the actually getting into bed. And each one of these has a trigger, which starts first thing when you wake up in the morning. So many people, if you start to look at it, you are driven by habits like from the moment you wake up until the time you fall asleep, which is crazy, but it is such a strong tool to harness for anything that you want to change in your life. So we'll just kind of take this small little thing. So perhaps it's a time, maybe you go to bed. In fact, your trigger to go brush your teeth might be the end of your favorite TV show. Maybe you're staying up and you watch some kind of show. When it's over, it's 10 o'clock and it's bedtime. Those are your triggers. So the next thing you do is go brush your teeth. And the reward for that is you get to go to bed with clean teeth. Maybe you have better breath when you wake up. Clean mouth, healthy teeth, better breath, right? Those are probably your driving forces for brushing your teeth. And then after you do that, you put on your pajamas. So your trigger was, I'm done with my toothbrushing now, I'm going to put on my pajamas. And the reward for that is that you get out of your daytime clothes, you feel better, you get into something more comfortable to sleep in, and then the next thing is you go and get in bed because you're done with your pajamas. That's your trigger, is I'm finished with this, I'm going to go get in bed now. That's your action. And then your reward is that you're all comfy and ready to go to sleep, and you're going to feel better when you wake up and be able to think better and whatever, right? And then if your next thing is doing that last email check, let's use email because I can relate to that one, and you're in bed with your phone, you're doing that last email check. So your trigger is that you're in bed, you're ready to go to sleep. The action that is a habit, whether you want that to be a habit or not, is to check your email. On just a side note, I would suggest trying to cut that habit out because it can actually keep you from sleeping very well. But nonetheless, there you go. And the reward for that is that then you do feel like you can sleep, right? Then you feel like you have closed the day, there's nothing left there that you aren't aware of, so that you feel like when you wake up in the morning, there's not going to be like a ton of surprises waiting for you in your email, right? So there's your reward. So likewise, with any healthy change you're trying to make, try to look into your day at your routines and at your already established habits and see where they'll fit in the best, because often if you can tie it to a current habit or substitute a habit you already have, it makes it so much easier, and they stick so much harder when you can already just tie it in there. So imagine if, let's stick with the bedtime routine. Pretend that you don't brush your teeth before you go to bed. So you're watching your favorite show, your show is over, it's 10 o'clock, it's time to go to bed. You go get in your pajamas, and this is your usual thing. You get your pajamas and go to sleep. And then now you want to add in brushing your teeth. So along with this example, which will be a little bit of a repeat, but bear with me, then what you're going to do is you're going to look at that and you're going to go, would it be better for me to brush my teeth before or after my show? Before or after my pajamas? Before or after I get in bed? Before or after I check my email? And you'll start to see, logically, it's not going to make any sense, right? You don't want to get in bed, check your email, then get up and go brush your teeth. Or, it makes more sense to brush your teeth before you put on your pajamas, because if you get toothpaste on the clothes you're wearing, they're going to go in the laundry anyway and it won't matter. Or it doesn't make sense for you to brush your teeth before your show because maybe during your show you like to have a little bedtime snack, or you're still drinking your hot cocoa or something. So you want to do it after so that your teeth are clean. So what you're going to kind of do is look at things like that and you insert it. Another good example is to substitute. So if you want to give up your afternoon sugar craving, whatever it is, if you go for a soda or a candy bar or whatever it is, you already have that habit built in. Let's assume you already have that habit built in, that you know that you have your 2 p.m. sugar crash, right? Where you need something. A lot of people do. So what you start to do then is go, well, instead of tea, try to instead of like soda or a cookie or something sweet, you might want to try to substitute something like chai tea, which is very flavorful and can have that sweetness to it because it has, cinnamon and ginger and all those yummy spices in it. And then you will still feel like you've had that sweet treat that you're already in the habit of having, but it'll be a little bit on the healthier side or more towards the goal you're trying to do. If maybe your goal is to try to give up the sugar, right? So you're moving towards that. And maybe the next step would be to substitute in a glass of water instead, or any number of things, right? So that's just an example of how you can kind of substitute things in. And I'm going to leave you with that. And I'll just repeat: trigger, the action, and a reward. So try to think of those things as you're setting up your habits. And also really try to say, what is my reward? And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a pedicure if I go for my walk today. The reward itself can be just the pleasure you get from taking good care of yourself. Just being proud of yourself, just knowing that you're showing up for yourself and you have your own back can be the reward. So don't try to make it harder than it has to be. So that's why I suggest just trying to kind of squeeze these things in. And if you find that you need a bigger reward to make it worth it, maybe it's time to reevaluate your goal as well, or the habit that you're trying to create, and see if the habit you're trying to create is actually something you want to do and is actually benefiting you, if you're starting to feel like you have to bribe yourself into it. Does that make sense? So let me know if that makes sense. And for today, I think that is all I'm going to go through. I'm going to keep this kind of short. I don't see any questions or comments. Please do feel free to drop those in for me. And you can find some freebies. I didn't make anything special for this week, so I'm hoping you'll send me some questions and I can have some free printables or some kind of tools to offer to you tomorrow. But I feel like habits and mindset is really a big, juicy topic to get into, and it really takes you looking internally at what you believe about yourself, about your strengths, about how powerful you are to make this change. That if you don't feel like, you might not believe that you're the kind of person who can do the thing that you want to do. And if you write that down and get a little perspective, you may be able to go, no, I am the person who can do this, because I can break it down into these little steps and I can definitely do one little step at a time, right? That we don't have to always be ready for the finished product. That life is a journey. We take it step by step, right? Just like a little baby doesn't just jump up and start running marathons. They've got to kick their legs and bounce around a little before they even take their first little steps. So do we. So even if you don't feel like you're ready for what you want to do, examine that. And leave me questions. I would love to know what habits you're trying to do. Check everything out on my website. If you've missed past videos or you want to pick up some of those freebies still, it's at colleen-bean.com/TW. And I'll leave that in the comments for you as well, so you can just click on that really easy and go over there. And I will talk to you again next week. And hang out with me on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, seeing this, head over. It's facebook.com/ColleenBeanCoaching. And I hang out there every day. I love to talk to you guys. You can send me a private message. You can hit me with comments. You can even post stuff on there. Post about the goals you're achieving, post about habits, post about your nutrition, questions, comments, feedback. I love to hear it all. Love to hear from you. So I'm gonna shut it down, and I hope that this helps you. And this weekend you'll get started on new habits. You'll have a little flexibility in your schedule, especially if you're kind of freezing in the cold like I am. Maybe you'll have a little extra time at home to really start to look at your daily habits and see how you can improve them, and let me know. Okay, so have a great week. Talk to you next week for week 4 of our reboot. So that means there's 4, 5, and 6 left. So 3 weeks left to really get these things settled for the new year. And I'm excited. I'm super excited. And I'll tell you more next week about my personal goals and how they're going, because well, I'll give you a little insight here. If you're still with me, you can get a little inside peek. One of my things was to get back to more organic vegetables in my diet, because I was doing a lot of, I don't know, it felt like I was eating road trip food a little too often. And one of the things I found was this soup that has 14 different vegetables in it, and it's organic. I don't love that it's canned. I would really like to get more fresh vegetables, but of course in the wintertime it's a little bit harder to do that. We don't have farmers markets open here where I am in the city. It's a little too cold for that, and so I do have to rely a little more on frozen and canned fruits and vegetables, since I also know how far these fresh fruits and vegetables can travel during the winter to where I am, that they can lose a lot of nutrition there, that there's been studies that show that fresh and frozen can differ in nutrition value, that frozen foods often have more nutrition in them just because they're usually processed at the peak of ripeness, and frozen, which kind of locks it in. So take that for what it's worth, right? I still like to have my fresh stuff, but during the winter it's not always the best option for me. So I got this soup that has these 14 different vegetables, and as you probably know, if you haven't seen it already, I've got a free program on my website called the 21 Veg Challenge. It's colleen-bean.com/21 if you want to check that out. So my goal is to always get 21 vegetables, different vegetables and fruits in my diet every week, because if you eat 3 meals a day, that is 21 chances per week to try a new vegetable or fruit. So I find that to be very fun. I heard that from Dr. I can't remember. I feel like it was an interview with Dr. Mark Hyman and another doctor, and it was the other doctor who said it. Sorry, I can't come up with that off the top of my head. Nonetheless, great thing to do, right? Like 21 different vegetables, that gets you a lot of natural nutrition, like a variety of vitamins and minerals and protein and fiber and all the goodies that our body needs. So that little can of soup is kind of my cheat. I try to get it every week. So right off the bat, I've got 14, so I only really have to find 7 more fresh fruits and vegetables for this week, which makes it super easy. That's only like 1 a day, and the soup itself doesn't have any fruit in it, so sometimes that kind of leads me down the path of having 5 to 7 different kinds of fruit for the week. But nonetheless, that's part of my habit change, and I really did just kind of stick that in. I do a weekly meal plan, so I've talked about this before. It's kind of like, you know, Saturday is this, and Sunday's kind of crock pot day, so it'll be like a roast or something in the crock pot with vegetables, and Tuesday is taco night, and then Thursday is kind of pasta night, like Italian night. So I kind of spread these things out, and so I kind of just stuck like vegetable soup night in there as part of my habit. So, and my reward is that I get to check off 14 vegetables off my little 21 thing that I have in my calendar that I track my vegetables on, and that's a lot of fun. So there's a personal behind the scenes look at what I do to try to have healthy habits and how I establish that. So hope you enjoyed that little tidbit. Give me a heart if you did, so that I know that I'm not just like throwing all my secrets out to the black hole of the internet. And I'm gonna shut it down now and go to bed. Actually, have to kind of take some of my makeup off, and see you later. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you again next Friday night.